Hi, I'm Kathy Carlisle, and welcome to Let's Plunge. This podcast is an exploration, an invitation to slow down, breathe deeper, and meet yourself more honestly than before. It's for anyone craving soulful clarity in the middle of real life. Not perfection, not polished, just presence. So if you're done with surface talk, if you want to feel more connected to yourself, to others, or to your own damn truth, this is your space. Grab your tea, your journal, or just a few quiet moments. Let's plunge.
My first question is, are you a back or a side sleeper?
Am I a back or a side sleeper? Without a doubt, side sleeper. And I recently got the pillow cube, which is an essential for side sleepers because I have sore shoulders and had like even a frozen shoulder for a while. So it's been really instrumental this year of being a side sleeper because pillow cube is not for back sleeping or anything. So side sleeper.
Nice. What is your favorite season?
My favorite season, fall or spring on a visual level, and they're really gentle. Those are really gentle seasons, probably because they're transition seasons. Yeah, those two.
What would be the first thing you'd do if you won the lottery?
It would all go into Plunge. If I won the lottery, all the money would go towards Plunge.
What's the worst gift you've ever received, and what did you do about it?
Worst gift I ever received was from Mr. Jake Carlisle, who happens to be the best gift giver now. But one Christmas, many, many moons ago, he gave me like a dishwasher, a vacuum, and pots and pans. And at some point I was like, are you trying to keep me in the kitchen? I think I was pregnant even. So I was like, this is just weird. Bad gift giving year because it was for us, but it was for you? No.
If you weren't in the career that you're in now, what would you be doing instead?
If I wasn't in the career I'm in now, what would I do instead? I just recreate the same career over and over again. So it's Kathy Carlisle career of either counseling. I bet that would be a thing that I would get into. Any kind of listening or talking. Maybe more of a speaker, a paid speaker.
What's one personal belief you had that's changed over time?
One personal belief that's changed over time. My prejudices towards ableism or non-able, like towards disability. So my beliefs on ableism in general for sure have changed. My beliefs around being highly sensitive have changed. I mean, every aspect of me has changed, so it's really hard to pinpoint which things or beliefs.
If you could have dinner with a celebrity, who would it be and why?
If I could have dinner with a celebrity, it would probably be, quickest answer is Oprah. And why? Because I feel like she would support and believe in all things that I'm doing, and she has a fuck ton of money.
If you could live in this generation without technology, would you or would you not agree to it?
If I could agree or disagree, if I could agree to just not have technology in this generation?
Yes, like if you were willing to live without it, would you?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I would live without technology because I know what a world looks like without it. Versus if that's all I've ever known, that would be even more uncomfortable. So I still have access to memories and what life was like before technology. So yes, I would live without it.
What made you want to become a photographer?
I always answer everything in hindsight now. So I think what made me, in hindsight, want to be a photographer is I crave intimacy. So intimacy for me taking pictures, I could be with the crowd and be taking pictures of people having emotions. I just love relationship. And so I know that's even why the app was made, because I'm looking for that same intimacy in people that I would get through photography. It's almost like I only knew this because once I had a disabled body and I wasn't able to take photos, I no longer was in the mix of the activities and the doing. So my way of going into the doing without fully engaging in playing all the things or being in the chaos, whatever the thing is, the doing, I was taking photos of it. So I could kind of be on the outskirts of it, but in it and involved and have interactions with people and have intimacy. And then my other yearning is for authenticity. So taking photos, it quickly became about, yes, it taught me, like basically I got paid to go through school to be a photographer. And throughout that schooling of taking photos of like weddings and family and all those things, what I ended up photographing every time was the authentic moments, the emotional moments, intimacy again, right? So the photos without the photography now and without this ability to be in action with people and doing, I have to be able to talk to people. And so that's why the app is so crucial for me.
Did you always know that you wanted to have kids, or did that come later?
Without a doubt. Now I'm just going to talk to you. So off camera, I'm talking to someone because it's too hard to talk to the camera when you're right there. Absolutely. The blueprint that was passed on to me from my mom having 7 kids was I admired her more than anything. So the blueprint in front of me was mother and nurturer. So I slipped really easily into that. I think now I'm learning how to mother myself, which is really crucial and new kind of language for me to understand. There's an inner child. Only I can parent her and give me the things that I wanted as a child that my mom and dad did the best they could, and they did awesome. I was raised in love, but also a lot of my needs weren't met. So, and I I parented my kids. I wanted to become a mom to kind of change the blueprint. So literally having a business that's family led or family run and woman led, that's how my family is. We're more of the feminine matriarchal kind of model versus a patriarchal. I was raised in a patriarchal model. So I got a taste for that, and I was like, I want to do it different.
What would be your advice for dating in this generation?
First of all, I just did, we'll have to use this to reference, I just did a ghosting SOS. Because if I was going to give any kind of advice, I'd say to you, to my nieces, to my daughter, don't play any part of ghosting. Don't play any part into it. That's awful. I don't understand how it's, I'm understanding it more and more just because it's technology and totally different dating world. I would say go deeply into your own values and self-reflect and ask yourself really deep questions so that you can both answer them for yourself and feel into them and also ask others. And so when you are dating, then you're able to go beneath the surface and get closer to values. Because if you're not getting close to values in a relationship, it's just physical and surface and a performance. And that's fun, but it's not sustainable. It's not something that is going to last for long.
We talked a little bit yesterday about saying honestly. How do you feel about people saying, I'm not going to lie, or, something like that? How does that make you feel?
I think at the purest intention part of it, I get so curious of, why would you preface that? Were you about to lie to me? So there's a genuine curiosity that just stands out to me when someone says, as a stall word, just like we would use like Like, that's annoying enough for me, but now it's like, honestly. So it really bothered me when I was raising teenagers because their friends would come over and start saying honestly. My kids wouldn't do it because they knew I had a sensitivity to it. And then their friends would learn my sensitivity, so they'd stop saying it. Sorry, you're welcome. If you're still not saying it, because that one mother got really annoyed at it. Because as soon as I hear it, it's like, oh, you were about to lie to me. What's even more painful is one of my friends uses it the most in my circle, and it's hard to watch her lie to herself. Because that's really what it's about. Like, I'm not going to speak totally truthfully right now, or I'm about to speak. I get it in my circle because the person I feel like is finding confidence to speak honestly to me because they feel safe or whatever. But normally it's kind of a warning or a preface of like, I'm going to say something kind of vulnerable. So anyway.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And I didn't even think about it like that until you brought it up.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's so common to just say honestly, or I don't want to lie, but can I be honest? Something
It's
like that.
totally a stalwart for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think you know what it means. But I'm looking at the subconscious of like, wait a second. You're about to lie to yourself, or you're about to tell yourself the truth for the first time. And you're prefacing it, like you're giving a precursor to it. I'm about to tell the truth. Okay, I'm waiting. It's so exciting.
How does your friend feel about her using honestly a lot and you not really
She has not picked up on the trigger that I think she uses it a lot. I have mentioned it in the past. It's going to be an uncomfortable conversation when I bring it up because defense is the first act of war, right? And if someone gets attacked or someone calls something out that's embarrassing or whatever, it's like, I'm going to defend myself. So it's like, no, I don't use that. Like, I've studied it for years. You use it a lot. And it's usually around a really vulnerable subject.
Sure. My mom, always growing up, she wouldn't let my siblings and I say the word hate. Yeah. You're not allowed to hate something. How do you feel about that?
My sister-in-law has a really strong aversion to it as well. I don't mind when someone calls out a sensitivity. Like, when I'm around her, I get a little bit more mindful about the use of the word. So I don't dislike that people have brought it to my attention that they're sensitive to that one. It's a strong word, and so why not bring it up to people's attention to use it less?
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially when you're speaking about someone. I think that's when it can be harsh.
I can get dramatic. I'm definitely, it's been said I'm a walking hyperbole, so I like the all or nothing and really dramatic conversations. So I'll be like, hates this, likes this. Like on Dating on the Spectrum, I love when they lead with that. Kathy likes fresh rain smell, hates. So I can be playful with it. It doesn't have as strong a connotation, but probably because I don't typically use it towards humans. And how would I know for sure, but I feel like I never said it as a kid. Like a kid, like, we're like, I hate you, Mom. Like, that never came out of my mouth. So I don't feel like I have experience of telling a human. It feels like I would just crumble inside telling someone that.
If you could be reincarnated into any animal, what would it be?
Most of the time I say eagle because I just have such an admiration for them. I love the majestic aspect of them and the bird's eye view, quite literally. If I'm going to be a bird, I want the biggest, most majestic version of it. Is there any new one today? Because it feels like that's my go-to. I mean, aside from not studying them or knowing a lot about them, a black panther would just be awesome to step into, to feel that regalness. And again, it's like the bird, like majestic, like, I don't know. There's all these words that come to mind for me to feel like that feeling of statuesque and stunning and awe. Like, everybody stops when they see something like that. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite holiday?
Used to be, is it still, Thanksgiving. Love the gratitude. My birthday's around there, so it feels like a just nonstop celebration. But also the connection over food and togetherness. Awesome, awesome feeling around Christmas to both, childhood memories, but also to create Christmas for my kids and the bonding that we do over tradition and Christmas. So, I mean, those two are back to back. I love them. A surprising one, not necessarily a hot take, but a non popular one would be Valentine's Day. I love, love, I love hearts. I love all things Valentine decor. And the concept of getting notes. When I was a kid, we actually had boxes and people would leave the Valentines in them. Raising my kids, I even got to make them really fancy looking Valentines with their photos on it. So, of course, really playful and gorgeous. I probably made Valentine's stop because I took it too far.
Growing up, were you a cold lunch girl or were you a hot lunch?
I went to a Catholic private school for 13 years, and we only had hot lunch like once every couple months, if that. And it was like burgers and chips, so that was so fun, but we didn't have a cafeteria or anything like that, so my mom would pack us lunches. And then with my kids, I packed them lunches. Then when I shifted health-wise, I was doing like really healthy bento boxes and putting love notes in them. And then I think they'd have money for the cafeteria if I, forgot lunch or something, but that would be like only a handful. They probably yearned for it. They probably hated homemade stuff and wanted to get the cafeteria like everybody else. I don't know.
What's your favorite color and why?
Okay, well, I'm in kind of a rose gold era right now. But before that, turquoise or like blue-footed booby. I don't know if you've ever seen a blue-footed booby bird. They have the most gorgeous bright blue feet. It's like a robin's egg blue. Love me some blues, like turquoisey blues. It's all the Plunge colors. Obviously, it went into Plunge.
What was it like going through milestones in a family with 7 kids?
Love that. It feels like milestones in my family were all about doing. And awards or being highlighted. So birthdays, though, my mom made us feel very special. So birthday milestone was awesome in a family of 7. The other milestones just feel like pressure. Like you're 5 siblings, or sometimes even my little brother. So your 6 siblings have done it this way. So this is how you do it. And we didn't have like rites of passage. So I clearly yearned for that because I made rites of passage for my kids then. That was important that we had some kind of rituals around that. So I just think they were few and far between.
Was it hard naming your kids?
Fun fact. In naming my kids, Jake and I, it wasn't hard. It was fun, and we wanted to be creative. We're an interracial couple, and so it was important for me not to have my kids have very ethnic black names, like Shaniqua or something that screams, I'm married to a black man. I'm a white woman that clearly is married to someone with a different ethnicity. So I wanted it to be unique, but didn't scream ethnicity. And so Trey, and then I also wanted to use my family names here and there. So Trey, the oldest, his name is Trayton. And we feel like we just butchered the name because we both liked Trey on Boys in the Hood movie. So we're like, I love Trey. And we're like, how can we make it longer? And I don't even remember how we got Trayton, but it wasn't common, so we feel like we made it up. Most people call him Trenton. He hates that. And then for his middle name, we did initial, like just a shorter version of my maiden name to bring my name back into it. So he's Trayton Hajduk because my maiden name is Hajdukovic. So he's Trayton Hajduk. Jelena, another creative, okay, and we didn't know the sex of our child, so we had to pick out 2 names per child, or more than one. We went in with 2 names. So Jelena, if she was going to be a girl, we thought we were butchering my grandma's name. My grandma's name, I knew her as Yelena. I didn't know a lot about her, but I knew it was Yelena, and I knew it was spelled with a J. Did I? No, I did not know it was spelled with a J. I never saw her name spelled out, so people called her Yelena or Helena. And so I'm like, let's butcher it and let's call her Jelena. And then years later, I saw how my grandma's name was spelled. It's exactly Jalena. So I was like, okay, I didn't butcher that. And her middle name is a combo of my sister and my niece. So Trey was kind of named after Tracy. So I was like, oh, I'll name my other kid after my other sister, because there's only 2 girls, or 3 girls, but 2 sisters. And so Trey, I was like, oh, yeah, Trey. With Jelena, though, Caillou is Lynn's daughter. And so I just combined their names as Kylin. And then Jamie, I was pregnant with him when we met Jake's dad. And so it was like the moment my kids were being invited into their blackness and their black culture for the first time. So Jameson, we both loved. I loved the name from a basketball player back in the day. So again, we're like, we love this name, cool. And then we didn't really think about Jameson whiskey. We only found that out after we had him, that's a big deal, because we spelled it Jamison instead of E. So Jameson, and then pregnant while we met Willie, and his last name is Thomas. So we called him Jameson Thomas. So there's deep meaning in all of them to our families and to us specifically. That being said, we went away this weekend to a farm. It was like an Airbnb tiny farm. And the daughter of the man, so he's 80-something, his daughter was Jelena. And then Jelena talked to the girl, and the girl had said, actually, it's Jelena. So, but it's spelled the exact same way. So we thought, I butchered the name, and then he butchered the name because he thought he was going to call his daughter Jolene, but then he thought they'd call her, I don't remember. He kept saying we were going to do this, but we didn't want people to call her Joe, and so we made a Ja, and so they had butchered it. And I was like, we thought we made up the name too. So, yeah, I loved naming the kids, and they all have deep meaning for my family and for my lineage and or Jake's. So it's a combo of both of them, and we made them so together.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Here, because of comfort and roots, my body thrives. Like, it's not too harsh here. And I've lived in Alaska, obviously, and Texas, and they're extremes that my body doesn't thrive in. So this kind of gives me mildness. Like, it's pretty mild weather, even though there's a lot of rain. Everybody gets freaked out by it. But I deal with the rain just like I would the snow. So I can handle it.
If you could travel anywhere, where would it be?
I feel like there's no personal desires. Like, I don't have Kathy has to go here. If I think about going with my family, that changes things. I'd like to get to Africa to hook my family up with their African roots. And that would be cool to just be in that culture. I loved Belize, Brazil, Scotland, and Ireland. And because they're probably familiar, I feel like I'd want to travel back to some of those. My mom's in Greece right now, and I'm intrigued by Greece. I don't really have any desires to do like France or anything. Most travel excursions equal doing. if you think from an able body, you have to be able to do a lot of things in order to fully take in the experience. And so I still have a brain that wants and yearns for that, but a body that would require me to just take in the weather and food that people give me and surface conversations. Like, I don't want to go blimp. That's part of the blimping for me. Like, to talk travel that long for me. Like, cool if you want to travel there too and have the same experiences, but so boring for me because I don't want them.
What would be your death row meal?
I think I was telling you about human design. And human design, there's a way to take in food and information the best for each person. And I'm a markets girl, which just means I love variety. So I would take a meal that has a variety of small bowls of my favorite things. It's like a sweet and a sour, like, oh, the perfectly pickled whatever to go with the chicken wing that's perfectly cut up. And I feel like I'm always trying to create my favorite meal, but also I'm not the one creating them because I have a chef. So the chef is making me meals, and in order to take all the meals in, she should be here pretty soon, actually, delivering food. But I like to have a variety of things.
So you like cooking?
Nope.
No.
I did like cooking. Again, able body thing. So no, cooking now is not a possibility. If I walked you through the nuances of all the doing within a cooking moment, so okay, I need the olive oil. That's 5 steps away. And then, oh, I forgot the spoon, so I got to go back to the spoon. It's a lot of multitasking and doing that a lot of the movements are so automatic in a body. So now that they're not automatic for me, that is like torture to me. Like, if I had to cook myself a meal, I would just starve. Like, it's to that point. So, yeah, not enjoyable. Historically, absolutely, I can whip up meals. I took pride in making a lot of home-cooked meals and everybody sit down. But they were pretty mom-inspired meals, which were pretty bland and for the masses. Not bland, they're just easy, like home-cooked macaroni and cheese that I love. Steaks and mushrooms and like the go-to meals. She made really amazing meals, but for 9 people every night. So it's not like she got to play with the joy of cooking. It gets cooking to feed humans, and it's so her love language to be able to feed people. And it's just like sandwiches and nothing really elaborate or bougie. Definitely not ethnic.
How would you describe your style?
My style now is impractical. Like, literally for my non-able body, it's not practical because I love flowy things, layering. I think I have a sense of hipness as I'm wearing a beret for this. Like, I love, or I have a monocle. Like, I love, like, statement pieces and jewelry and things with meaning. And also, I have a certain level of hipness that I like to be in. Like, I want to sport. If I had a more able body, I'd be sporting younger clothes. I just do it with my nails. Like, oh, I'll play with my nails and 5 pieces of jewelry that are for disabled. Like, I can't do clasps, so I have to do different versions. That, and it's pretty high end. Like, I'm not getting Gap or things that I would have worn in the past that was just practical mom wear. I've had a full transformation where it was like, Jelena, we were cracking up because her style is like to the nines, beautiful, on point, or an NBA player, just depending on what day you catch her on. And I just thought that was the funniest. But that's, for me, mom mode would be like tight bun in my hair and not even sweats, like jeans and a t-shirt and some kind of cool coat. And now it's all about comfort. It's all about flowiness and ease. Like I can't do buttons. So now everything is like elastic waist. What? It's unacceptable. My options are so down.
How do you feel about other countries making fun of us Americans for wearing loungewear outside?
My first reaction was like, I concur. And I would say I understand it. I understand why they'd make fun of us. My wonderful, amazing teacher, Maria in Brazil, she was teaching a class around the feminine and specifically the roles of a female in relationship. So there's 5 different roles. Okay, let's see if I can get them all. Friendship, lover, mother, son, father, daughter, and social. Social is that you know how to, again, this is a woman in a relationship, heterosexual, not appropriate for the whole world right now, but it was perfect teaching for me being in a very heterosexual, traditional marriage to a man. So social is I know how to respect and lift him up around his friends or coworkers. Mother, son is, just those vibes of taking care of him when he gets sick, or did you eat, or hey, did you think about what your aura ring said? Now, mind you, I had said these are the 5 roles. We are all of them. So all 5 of them are meant to be balanced, like working on the balance. So you don't want the mother-son one to get out of balance. You don't want the father-daughter one of like me putting my husband in the father role of like, I'm not going to tell him what I spend. I'm going to hide things. That one's father-daughter. The lover is the one most of us lack because it would be like in another culture, they spend time and consideration and care to putting on their finest things in the house, not to leave. So it's not performative. It means I'm going to make this special moment for for my husband, for us. So that's the lover. And then the one that brought this all up for me is friendship. So she goes, for you guys in America, you have this one down. Like you wear sweats around each other. You poop in front of each other. Sorry about the accent, Maria. So to that one, I think it's that friendship thing where it's like, hey, that's kind of too comfy. And yet I understand why we do it. Like why I want to be uncomfortable. And we're on the go and we're doing humans. So I just know also if we're going to go from a feeling and a sensory kind of place, that's where it's so fun to play with clothes. How does this outfit make me feel? If I only wear sweats all the time, do I ever get the feeling of feeling like professional and respected and different things to play on or play with, right? You being in beauty school and hair, that's another way that we can play with how we look and how we feel. If you're always going to wear your hair in a ponytail, do you ever get to play with the flowiness of having it down? For me, having my hair down now all the time, it hurts to put it up. But before, I always had it up, so it hurt to bring it down. I'm like, oh, now I'm committed to this being down my whole life? Like, this hat has no tension, and I still have a headache, like borderline headache, because there hasn't been free flow of my hair and touching my hair, and there's just a rigidness that happens when I put on a hat. So then by the end of the day, it's like, ooh, too much tension.
This is a great segue into my next question.
Oh, great.
How do you feel about people saying you feel better if you dress better?
I think it's true, but not everybody's looking to feel better. So how you dress can make you feel. I would say that's the new sentence. And it's like, how do you want to feel? If you want to feel comfortable and don't want anyone to look at you, it's that NBA player kind of day where you put on the big clothes. NBA player meaning on a little body. So it's just clothes that eat you up because women just don't feel safe to show their body that day. So it's like, I'm not showing my figure. So yes, I think it matters. Not matters, it clothes can equal feeling. So play with different feelings through your clothes.
Do you think it's true that if you dress for work, like if you dress more for professional for work, it means that you are a more professional person?
Not necessarily, like not clean and cut like that. I think they're all labels that I love to swim in. I'm a label kind of person, so I would understand why people say that. Again, though, I just go in the feeling. So if I want to feel a little more professional, what I think professional feels like, because it's performative. Professional is performative, that someone's going to see me and think that's a professional person. That is she has her shit together. So do I want to be that anal all the time? No. I want to have flowy gear on and someone say, she looks so professional. I definitely use the ritual of getting ready and dressing myself as that feeling of being a productive human to being a human that perceived as a human that cares how she looks and feels. Smell is a massive thing for me. Not so much other people, but it can be about other people too. Like I immediately was like, oh, I smell vanilla on you. So smell is my go-to sense that I feel into most things with. So part of getting ready in the day is putting all my lotions and different smells and then dressing. I mean, even Jake dressing for his day, he's got a level of professionalism, but also he doesn't like wearing shoes. And so he can be so dressed up and then kick off his shoes. So he's just a socks and mortgage gear for the day.
Would you say that you thrive off routine, or are you more of a go with the flow, easy?
Both. I love playing with routine. I do not want to be a rigid routine kind of person. I do treasure my routine and depend on my routine in the morning, but that also could switch month to month. Overall, in a day, what I've learned being a disabled body, I choose to be a very go with the flow kind of person, trusting, but also respecting other people's time. So, hey, I'm going to be about 10 minutes late, just so, like, just kind of release the pressure on me and give them a heads up that I'm coming, I'll be there. And I realize that I'm late. I don't usually apologize for things like that. But I think there's a common courtesy. If I was going to be really late, I'd for sure apologize. But I'd probably lead with, like, thank you for waiting.
Did you have a favorite subject growing up?
I think English, because I had a really cool English teacher. She got me into journaling. So out of all the things I took from English class, it was that journaling class, the aspect of the class. Shout out to Miss Horikawa that I'm still in a relationship with and love. So I think I thrived in English.
Oh, what made you want to play volleyball?
Easy answer is one of my older sisters took the path of volleyball. I think I was looking for freedom and permission to not be in the pressure of basketball. We have a basketball dynasty of a family. So knowing now in hindsight, looking back, it very much was permission to get out of that aggressive mode and to get into something I thrive in, which is full-on team aspect. Like, there's no, this is dramatic, this is where I get dramatic. There's no greater sport for team playing. Like, you can't play volleyball, just one player. So I love that aspect of it. And it's just more gentle than how aggressive I get in basketball. I want to be manly and a dude in basketball. And I just loved that I could explore more of my feminine within volleyball. But mostly because my sister, I just idolized my sister, and she was a badass volleyball player. So I was like, I want to do that.
Did you feel like volleyball was a form of therapy for you? Did it feel like therapeutic?
No, but it would give me plenty of therapy subjects to work on later in life. Was it therapeutic? I mean, it's a release for testosterone. It's a brilliant play within leadership. Like, I got to try on leadership. I love being setter, so I like to run the whole court. And bottom line, it's performative. So I love the performance aspect of it. I'm not one that's like, ooh, the sport is within me and I'm just passionate and would do this even if no one was watching. This is fun. I'm good at it, and I prefer people watching. Because why else would I do this if no one's watching?
Did you ever run into team drama?
Absolutely. Both witnessing it and starting it.
What advice would you give girls now dealing with drama, either early on in life or currently at any age?
I would give the uncomfortable invitation to learn how to self-reflect. So self-reflecting to me, back when I was raising my kids, let's say they come home and they talk about a bully. Heard, that sounds so uncomfortable, that's not okay, right? Some kind of validation first and foremost, but I was so quick to go towards, look, the bully is inside of you. Like, this person cannot say that to you if you're not saying it to yourself somewhere inside. So I can't help you control this other person unless we go toe to toe with the school and the parents. And I know that I can affect change in my child if I can get them to get to that voice that said they're fat or they're not cool. It's like, where inside of you do you feel uncool? Where inside of you do you feel like you're bigger than anyone else? And let's try to soften, heal that one, have compassion to see if the voices outside of us can calm down. That's the only way I've seen how to make real change in my environment. I can create the change based on making the change within me. So it's not comfy, because my go-to with discomfort historically is blame. So I get wanting to blame the other person. I get knowing and understanding when someone just wants to defend themselves, be like, that's a uncalled for, that's an awful person, that was mean, they're a horrible person. That's true. So they said that, and it resembles a horrible person. I get that. And we're going to waste our time trying to change them and our energy. But I can change the asshole inside of you.
Why do you think it's so easy for people to gossip and spread rumors? Does that...
Similar tone to the self-reflection, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it feels better to rip on someone else than to hear it on myself all the time. So I'm like, ooh, let me take a break on feeling like I'm the bitch. That lady's such a bitch. Like, that feels better. So it's way easier to project on other people our own insecurities.
How did you get the idea of Plunge?
I was on a business call where we were creating products. It's like, do you want to create a product? Join this. I don't remember what it was called. It wasn't Wild, but one of my girlfriends was putting on, I don't know what you would call it.
Like a seminar.
Yeah, but it's like a, oh my God, I don't have the words. Well, let's just say she said, do you want to build a product? And I was like, I kind of was thinking about an app. And then Trey, my oldest, came home and said, hey, I just met with Maitreya, my friend from high school, or a friend from high school, and we just reconnected, and he built a really cool app. And I was like, what? I kind of want to build an app. What do you mean he built an app? And so he was telling me about his app, and I was like, do you think he would hold my hand and talk to me about an app. And 1 year later, it was done. And that sounds dramatic, but I was consciously, because of the guidance that my friend was coaching me on, business coaching, she was working specifically around the 80-20. And I was like, okay, I clearly see I'm a perfectionist. Like, I give the 80 most of the time. What if I just give 20% to this? And so, the business call would be like, okay, this week, write down 5 questions that you would put into the app or whatever. And I was like, 500 questions later. So part of me was like, okay, what's 20%? Can you just give 20%, Kathy? And I literally built an app giving the 20%, because those little 20% every day add up to the finished product. But I'm like an all or nothing, and the all or nothing is like procrastinate, and then give it all, and which is just a different way to do it.
Going back, would you change anything differently while creating the app?
I think the only trial and error I would consider going back on is that we started it as a 7-day, no, it was a trial. It was a free app. And then we thought there's no conversion, and so we switched it to a 7-day trial. But I feel like I would go back to our original version, which is like, I want everybody to have the app. But then no one was using the app to its fullest. So I was like, well, apparently we have to force people. Let's do a 7-day trial so they can try out the whole thing. So, and that change, like with apps, every change is like $3,000. And so I was like, I can't just change it back to what we had before. So that's the only reason I would go back to it, because it would cost money to try a new version of it again that we already had.
Do you think Plunge would be beneficial in a classroom setting?
Yes. Quick answer. How? In a classroom, I would imagine the best results would be the teacher using it, giving herself permission to be in listener mode every once in a while. Like if she knew a child was going through trouble with their family, let's say, it could be something where you start in the blimp, use the app to get on the surface, to get them warmed up with teacher asking questions and not teaching mode, and then to get a teacher in the depth where they're just going to listen and not give advice, just like a parent. That would be huge. I would think kids could use it in a classroom one-on-one. I wouldn't suggest it as a group, because as a group, you get collective pressures. Like, oh, everybody likes this and now this one person doesn't. Not healthy. Like, what was one of the first questions you asked me that was just kind of like either or? If you could be like, no, animal wasn't one. You asked me like a this or that in the very first one. It was more of a blimping.
Oh, like if you could be reincarnated into any animal? No.
But one of the first ones you did, it was like,
Are you a back or side sleeper?
Okay.
Yes.
So let's say we brought, are you a back or a side sleeper into the classroom? Because kids are always trying to navigate, do I fit in or don't I? If 4 out of the 5 people answer side sleeper and 1 says back, and they all are like, oh, so you snore? Right? It gives potential to really amplify what they're already sucking at, which is coming together and listening to each other. If you just kept it blimping and you gave kind of but there's no back and forth. There's too many rules. It's not even really an app for groups. I know groups of people love, like girlfriends love to do it and whatnot, but for me personally, it's meant to help you get more intimate with yourself, how to connect deeper, right? And so I would prefer people use it every day on themselves and just answer a deep question a day, and or a relationship that they care about, where they're like, I want to actually go deeper. I want to learn something new from this person. I want to connect. So if you have the safety of a group that likes to connect, absolutely. I do it in big groups. I do it with my family. There's 5 of us, and I love going there. But typically I don't, as the maker of the app, I don't love when people ask me to gamify it or say, let's play Plunge. I understand that verbiage. I understand it's an app and most people play apps. I truly want this to be an anti-app. I want people to use the app to get off their phone and get in relationship with each other.
I love that answer because I originally thought you could use it as like an icebreaker, just
Yeah.
the blimping part.
Right.
But I love that. You're right. Some kids do feel uncomfortable in that situation and they don't want to be the outcast.
Yeah.
Have you tried plunging in a completely different setting? You mentioned some of your friends did in the car.
With Kathy. So just in this last month, probably the weirdest setting would be on the phone with CenturyLink. There was a 2-minute pause. He's like, this is just going to take about 2 minutes. And I could feel his awkwardness. I could feel him wanting to talk, but not talk. And so I was like, hey, I have no idea what words come out of my mouth in order to get them to plunge. But I'm like, hey, I have this app. Do you want to try these questions with me? And they just get so panicked. They say yes. And I just get into the first question. So that one, I think there was this, I just found a video that I put in my Plunge folder that was a tow truck guy that picked us up. Our Tesla ran out of battery. Very embarrassing. This man came and he's clearly a car guy and it was a very messy truck that I got in. So physically I was very uncomfortable. And then he's talking really nervously about car stuff. And so I was like, hey guys, do you want to plunge real quick? I was like, hey, there's this question app. Do you want to play with us? And Jake was with me. So of course he's really quick. Let's try. And so the third human's like, okay, I'm going along with this. So of course I only stayed in blimping, but it's so much better blimping. Like, let me not let you fill the panic of this moment with your car talk. Let's just try to connect as humans. Side or back sleeper.
You mentioned that you'd love to see hairstylists use Plunge. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Hairstylists, from what I've studied, my friends will say, and I've experienced, that the hairstylist feels like a therapist because you're just unloading the drama of the day or the drama of the week or your problem. And it's a fairly comfortable place for most hairdressers to go into because they're staying in the blimp. So I thought, what if what if the hairstylist said, hey, can we engage in Plunge today, which is a question app? You're going to read the questions and we'll give answers back and forth. And that's assuming, like, at a certain age, which you wouldn't understand yet at 21, at a certain age, the multitasking does go down. And I can see it in my hairstylist. Is she the most amazing hairstylist, in my opinion? Yes. And she's very focused. And so she unconsciously, I believe, just asks this question to the person to get them talking so she can be busy cutting and listening. So that's fine and great, the cutting and listening, that's essential. But what if chair after chair, person after person, she's taking in drama and gossip and frustration, right? Even the most basic start to every hairstyling moment is focused on the weather. In order to get into the chair and get into the moment together, you have to talk about what's going on. Like, how about this weather? It's crazy, huh? If it's nice weather, we're going to focus on how beautiful it is. Like, it's so sunny, huh? And then they go in sunny, and that will likely go to, if you had any really good vacations lately. And those are all fine. But for my hairstylist, I think it came so effortlessly to want her to do a plunge challenge because I know human design-wise, she's not meant to take in everybody else's emotions without some kind of ability or practice to dump those emotions so she can feel her own stuff at the end of the day. So I would want her to be able to take in more gratifying conversations, more connection conversations that aren't so surfacey. And I don't think you have to go deep into the depths of things, but people already go into deep talk anyway, so why not?
As a client, how does it feel when your hairstylist, or maybe your hairstylist has never done this, but if they have, and you're talking to them and they don't answer, how does it feel? Because they're too busy doing something else.
I don't think that would stand out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, what are kind of my experiences with hairdressers? I've taken in a lot of drama from my hairdressers as well because I'm a good listener. So my processing gets them talking. So historically, I've had some that told me some really lame stuff. Like, why did I have to take in that part of your life? I don't.
Yeah.
Right. Or I've had hairdressers that were only into the physical. And so it was just a pretty constant conversation of modifications and Botox. And the one hairdresser got labia reconstruction, which just means she watches way too much porn with her husband, and she sees that her labias are not like they hang out or they're mismatched or whatever. And so she went to go perfect them, and she had to say for a whole week that she had back pain. But she would tell me what she actually had done, which was very painful vaginal surgery. So I shouldn't know that about my hairdresser, right? Where it's like, wish I wouldn't take in so much of the surface stuff. And then she'd come in with a boob job. So I had to hear about the boob job.
Yeah.
And I know she's in the beauty industry, so she's very focused on what she looks like.
But that puts you in an uncomfortable situation.
It just is a pressure thing, beauty, right? Like, I did this, and you should do this. Pressure.
Yeah. Right. And when she would tell you her drama, did it make you feel heavy in any type of way because you had to carry that on?
Judgmental,
okay.
Like, you're setting yourself up to be judged right now by giving me this really surface, ridiculous procedures. And that's before I got really deep as a person. So the hairdresser before my current one was a lovely woman who ended up dying very unexpectedly from a heart condition. It was so traumatic and so hard to deal with at the time. Her best friend, who was also at the salon, ended up becoming my hairdresser. So we have that bond over the hairdresser that passed. That was her good friend, best friend, and my hairstylist. So she was pretty negative and pretty superficial. And that was fine. And I could see how I ended up with Gina, where we go real deep, real fast. And by we, she's not necessarily going super deep with me. She's listening and she's engaged. She'll give some of her feedback if she feels open that day or not. But mostly I just bring a lot of my stuff to the table of like, this is what I've done. This is what I've done. She's like, wow, you give me a different way to look at things. And so I think there's healthier ways for both the hairdresser and the person receiving the haircut to walk away feeling hopefully like their hair does, like uplifted, right? You should be able to feel uplifted both sides. And so I think some more intention around conversation wouldn't hurt.
How would you recommend Gen Z people to learn how to be more vulnerable? What would be the start?
The start is plunging with yourself and with your closest friends to play with the different levels, both on the surface and depth, because answering those things is going to start flexing the vulnerability muscle. Other vulnerability muscle flexes would be getting on the phone, leaving a voicemail. Most of you guys don't have voicemails, and so I know I've walked many people through the vulnerability that it takes just to leave a voicemail. I've done photo excursions or missions that I put people on how to take photos of themselves without judging themselves. So that's a whole level of vulnerability. I just did one with a friend, with my PT, actually my physical trainer, or physical therapist, where we were doing a vulnerability around body parts. And she's like, what if you just laughed at yourself? And I was like, no, I don't laugh at myself, and especially around insecure parts of my body. And so she's like, but the body is so weird when you really look at it. And so she gave me a mission to take really weird photos of those parts of your body. Like, the body is weird. And so we'd send pictures back and forth of like, wow, like a shot of just up my nose. So it's just this part of my face where it's like, that is weird. Like 2 holes that is the nose, or like this weird crevice right here, or with my belly, I took my most vulnerable spot was my belly, and so I took a picture of my growing belly. I used to only have a flat belly, and so now perimenopause, I've got this more of a belly. And so she's like, okay, take a picture. And so I took a picture right in front of her, and we both looked at it, and I was like, mana, it totally looked like a Muppet. It's like, the belly's weird, a belly button, like that's a weird thing. So I guess that's my way of saying I'm always flexing my vulnerability muscle, and that's a deep one that I just did recently of my own. What are some other ways I get my kids vulnerable? I mean, just plunging is always vulnerable. Knowing that you want to connect with someone and having to say the words, let's plunge, that's vulnerable. So you're like, whatever girlfriend or guy friend or your parents, even, if you feel like that made you nervous to say that, that's flexing your vulnerability muscle. For my son, it's getting on the phone, putting in a food order. He's flexing that muscle more and more, so he's less hesitant than ever to do that kind of stuff. It's part of more adulting aspect of things, right? Like things that you would have just crumbled as a teen, and now you're like, all right, gotta go to school, gotta do this thing. Hey, thanks for listening. If something landed, let it ripple. Here's your depth question of the day. What's a dream you've quietly held on to that still feels very alive inside of you? Have fun plunging.